Your views on multiracialism has been a cornerstone of Singapore's development over the last 45, 50 years. In fact, at the press conference in August 65, you said that Singapore would not be a Malay nation or a Chinese nation or an Indian nation. Can I ask whether, looking back now, what is your assessment of how Singapore has progressed down this road to multiracialism? And whether you feel that we have achieved what you set out to do?
I have to speak candidly to be of value, but I do not want to offend the Muslim community. I think we were progressing very nicely until the surge of Islam came. And if you ask me, from my observations, the other communities are have easier integration, friends, both socially, intermarriages and so on. Indians with Chinese, Chinese with Indians, than Muslims. That's the result of the search from the Arab states. So if you want to marry a Muslim, you become a Muslim, which is a very big step for any non-Muslim to take. I mean, a way of life is changed. And as for the oath, the pledge every morning, I did not believe at that time that we could ever achieve it, but Raja, being the idealist, wrote it out. And I looked at it and I said, why not? There's an aspiration. But as the years went by, with the resurgence of Islam, you ask me now, is an aspiration not achievable in my lifetime, probably also in my son's lifetime? It may be achievable after the oil age has passed. Then the Muslims are faced with the problem of modern education, science, technology, industrial revolution, knowledge economy.
So even in Singapore, it's highly dependent on what takes place outside.
Oh yes, it's a globalized world. So as long as Islam traveled to Singapore by sailing ships, it was an attenuated version of Islam. So the Islam in Southeast Asia was not Islam by the sword, but Islam by commerce. So it syncretized, especially in Indonesia, with Hinduism, Buddhism, animism. And so with Malaysia. I mean, the Tunku believed in Bomos, and I think so does many Malays. And they say, okay, put a chili up and get the Bomo to pray so there will be no rain. That's most un-Islamic.
You are not confident that in Singapore things will turn out differently because we do not practice race-based politics or religion-based politics?
Religion overwhelms. Look, she will tell you that Islamic religion controls every part of your life, right?
Yes, but it doesn't mean that therefore as a citizen I will be, less loyal than...
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you will be loyal as a citizen, but because you will observe and you are forced to observe by peer pressure of nothing else, you will have to conform. The generation that worked with me, Osman Walk, Rahim Ishaq, that was before the wave came sweeping them. That generation integrated well. We drank beer, we went canvassing, we went electioneering, we eat together. Now they say, are the plates clean? Is it in the same washing machine? Halal, non-halal, and so on. I mean, they're all divisive. They are distinguishing me from you. I'm a believer, you are not. That's that.
So, Imam, just to be clear, are you saying that the existence of Muslims in Singapore is the main impediment to multiracial harmony in Singapore?
No, I'm not saying that. I think the Muslims socially do not cause any trouble. but they are distinct and separate.
So what do they need to do to integrate? I mean, are they doing enough to...
Being less strict on Islamic observances and say, okay, I'll eat with you.
But there are other ways to integrate without sharing a meal, surely.
No, but I'm telling you the reaction of a non-Malay, right? A non-Muslim.
You know, and then when you say that there's a veil between Muslims and non-Muslims, I think most Muslims I know, have lived with the conviction that, you know, they can be fully Singaporean and fully Muslim, and they somehow believe in the Singapore that you have, you know, imagined for your citizens. And now to hear you say that there's a veil between Muslims and non-Muslims, my question to you is, have the Muslims been deluding themselves?
No. There are different
that
kinds
they will
of
be
Muslims.
accepted.
When AFP started, they were opposed to MUIS, opposed to our PAP Malay leadership, and they came out in opposition to it. But they can do better for the Malays. And we gave them the support, financial and so on. Then they found that they couldn't compete with Mendaki. And they slowly came around because they were doing the same things, that in fact Mendaki was doing real service. So we are not saying the position is hopeless. We are saying that there is that portion that's under this kind of influence, and all you need is one or two to spoil the whole relationship. One big bomb, we cannot stop the reactions.